I'm Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And today we're going to be talking about how to spot emotional maturity.
And that's a really good skill to have.
Yeah, because your life is going to be much better if you have a partner that is mature and has the ability to be selfless and caring and thoughtful and considerate and all those great qualities that are going to go way beyond the excitement of meeting somebody new.
Right. Yes, it goes far beyond that. All right. So I'm going to begin to talk about it. I was just saying to Craig, in my entire life, I think I could probably list the truly grown-ups that I've met. And they're always good people to keep around, okay? Because they think straight.
Yep.
And can help you do it too. All right. And I'm going to maintain that emotional maturity's first cousin is differentiation of self. You're probably tired of my talking about it, but I can't help it. All right. Many of the relationships that we hear about from you are experiencing difficulties around the accomplishment of two different life tasks.
What does that mean, Margaret?
Okay. Number one, the task of beginning to separate from your family of origin and to invest in people outside of the family begins in early adolescence and continues at least until you're 24. Okay? So you don't want your child to be the kid who stays home all the time and only hangs out with their cousins. You want people to make investments in activities, other kids at school, other kids in the neighborhood, other people who are around. And many parents find it difficult when kids are more interested in their friends than they are in the family. And yet that's a very important growth step for kids.
Yep.
But sometimes it feels like rejection to families.
Mm-hmm.
All right? But it's extremely important that people do that. All right? So that's the first task, is separating. The second task is the task of developing intimacy in relationships. Okay? If you're heading toward adulthood here. So what we hope is that by age 24, you've done a fair amount of separating.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe physically moved out, have your own interests different from your family. All right. If things proceed normally, the task of separating from one's family and the task of establishing intimacy occur in some sequence. In other words, you're probably not going to do too well at establishing intimacy if you haven't really done a whole bit of work on separating yourself from your family. Because remember, you have to know who you are before you can promise it to somebody you love. Okay? If I don't know who I am, I might want to say to you, good luck, honey. Maybe you know what you're getting, but I don't.
Yeah, Margaret, it's interesting, but people can get stuck.
Absolutely.
And I did a call recently with somebody that, the wife was close to 60, and she was trying to figure out who she was. They'd been married for 25 years or something like that. And I really think she was trying to figure out her own identity there.
Good for her. And all I can say is if you didn't get to do it when you were young, it's still worth it when you're older, because nothing feels better than feeling like you like who you are. Mm-hmm. Good for her.
Yeah.
How was he handling that?
He seemed like he maybe was too supportive. In other words, he had spent so much time trying to do all the work in the relationship, and she seemed avoidant and just kind of, he's trying to repair, connect with her, and she was kind of just skating along with it for years. And so I think, if anything, he was just overly invested and needed to give her the space and independence to figure herself
and
out.
And encourage her independence. But good for that woman. It's never too late. I'd love to know what happened to bring her to the conclusion that she had to do it now. But who cares? It's working. That's cool.
Yeah.
And he obviously meant to do the right thing.
He was working very hard. He had been all kinds of therapy. He was wanting to do EFT therapy. He was really invested.
EFT is good.
Mm-hmm.
So if things proceed normally, we've done some of the task of separating before we begin the task of establishing intimacy. All right? The most common problem we see is people trying to do both of those tasks at the same time. Okay?
Okay.
And it's really easy. We see a slightly older guy who might be in his later 20s or early 30s, and he's pretty established in the world, and he's ready to settle down.
Mm-hmm.
But the girl that he started dating when she was 18 or 19, who is now in her early 20s, okay, doesn't feel like she has accomplished any of these tasks. And she may not have done much work on separating from her family. She may not have thought about who she is. And oftentimes she will refuse his proposal because she doesn't think she knows enough about the world, or she doesn't feel she can make that decision right now, or for whatever reason. And then he is devastated. Okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And, you know, many families are behind the scenes saying, you're not old enough to make that decision. You haven't been with anybody else but him, blah, 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 blah. So it can be a very difficult position for both of them. I feel terrible for the men because they're devastated. Just devastated. They thought their life was all set. But if you start to ask them, remember, my quick assessment of how do you know if somebody's adult: do they make decisions? Do they take responsibility for their behavior? Does she know what she wants? And the answer will be no, no, and no. But it's very hard not to take it totally personally, you know, and pull people back enough to say, look, this is what was going on. All right?
You're so overwhelmed with anxiety.
Absolutely, of course.
You can't think about that.
Don't ask me for logic. So the goal here is we want to establish a sense of self. Who are you? Very simple question, but extremely important. You want to establish a sense of self with flexible boundaries that permit emotional and physical intimacy with another person. Being beyond a fear of being merged or smothered or losing your identity. So you have to have an identity before you can worry about losing it. Okay? So we want you to be autonomous and close at the same time. And it sounds like an almost outrageous task. But it can be done.
Exactly,
It can be done. All right. So you want to enjoy, the end product here is you want to enjoy a satisfying relationship with your family of origin while maintaining your autonomy. Okay? And your intimate relationship. Now, it is not easy for families to let their beloved children grow up and leave home. Okay? It is hard to accept that you cannot keep them safe any longer, nor can you prevent them from making decisions you may not agree with. Like the dumb guy she's dating. All right? This is especially difficult when children's decisions, with children's decisions about partners. It's all about partners. Parents have often had hopes for a child all the time they were growing up. They may have been able to envision their son or daughter as a doctor, a lawyer, or perhaps following them into the family business.
Noodles, noodles, noodles.
Noodles and noodles. If you need a footnote for that, we'll explain. They may have hoped that a child would maintain his or her ethnic identity and ethnic identification, religion, and traditions. Okay?
There's a lot of underlying, what's the word I'm looking for? Not like assumptions, but like expectations.
Expectations.
That they want you to be like them.
Right. The child may have very different ideas and become hurt, angry, or worse yet, guilty, okay? If they feel pressured to do things the parents' way, okay? And the most lethal weapon the parents have is guilt.
Yep.
I feel like you're betraying me. How can you possibly walk away from everything we've taught you? Do you have any idea how hurt your father is or how hurt your mother is and how terrible this is? And it's very hard for a guilt-tripped person, young adult, to say, I have a right to my own life.
Yep.
Although somewhere you do have to say it at some point.
But the healthy people do?
Yeah. Parents, on the other hand, may be terribly hurt and disappointed and even feel betrayed.
Yeah.
They deserve understanding and support in that process. The process is really necessary, however, if parents want to maintain a healthy relationship with their adult children. The adult being the operative word here, okay? But if you perpetually guilt-trip your children and talk about your disappointment, you're not going to have much of a relationship, okay? It can be very difficult to stand up to a disappointed and possibly guilt-tripping parent. All right?
Yep.
There was a discussion on The View that I happened to tune into last week. You know The View, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where all the ladies sit together and pontificate. The members of the panel, all of whom have children and some of them have grandchildren, had a discussion of how much influence parents should have on a child's choice of partner. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I was utterly shocked to hear how much influence some of them expected to have.
Uh-huh.
One person, I couldn't believe it, one person wanted a family vote. You know,
a family vote?
Yes, if you're getting, really too friendly with Joe over here and he's going to come to every Christmas dinner,
man.
we need to be sure that the rest of the family likes him, so we need to have a vote. When I regained consciousness, fortunately, Whoopi Goldberg came on.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody asked her what she thought about the discussion, and she said, none ya. And everybody said, what do you mean by none ya? And she said, none your business. You have to let your separating child do what they want and with whom.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you could give your child your opinion or concerns,
Absolutely.
of course.
Yeah.
You want to, if you see something and you're concerned.
Say it, certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you have to always respect their autonomy.
Yeah.
And I think it's extremely difficult in some cases.
We're going to vote.
And if you've ever watched The 90-Day Fiancé, which I'm not particularly recommending, but it is interesting. Someone in my house likes it a lot.
The dogs.
Yeah. Then you can see really clear examples of what we're talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
There's one case where the guy's mother threatened to kill herself if he married this woman.
Oh, geez.
Now that's pretty dramatic, and that's pretty hard to deal with if you're the kid.
Yeah.
Okay? So in terms of emotional maturity, you want somebody who's done some separating and some decision making and some establishing of their own identity.
And here's the thing. If they haven't, you're going to go through a breakup.
Yeah. That's about it.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
You won't see it.
Yeah.
You won't see it coming, but it will happen.
The other thing that can happen, and I talked to a delightful fellow this week who could see it, is that if you're enough older than your partner, you can end up almost in a parental role. I mean, it's like they go from living at home to kind of being with you, and there's never their independent self. Because you can end up in a parental situation, and although your girlfriend in particular might not understand that this is a problem, when it comes down to making a commitment, it is a problem.
Yeah.
All right, because people have to have that sense of self.
Yeah.
To go into adulthood with.
Because like the guy that I did the coaching with recently, he's I think he was in his 60s, and the wife wants to leave him after 25 years, and it sounds like because she's trying to figure out who she is.
Absolutely.
That maybe she stayed out of obligations or the kids or whatever, and now she's trying to figure out who she is, and he's devastated.
Yeah. But he doesn't have to lose her if he can kind of go with her.
Well, I said, you got to respect her decision and let her figure this out for herself. Pressuring her isn't getting you anywhere, is it?
No, and if you're in the ultimate, there are two pressures that we all live with. One is to want to fuse with other people and have our needs met, and the other is to be autonomous. When it comes down to a choice between the two, autonomy wins. So if you love someone who's on a search for autonomy, you better help them do it, and you better think about your own, because it doesn't have to end the relationship. The decision ends up being, am I going to grow alone? Am I going to grow alone, or are you coming with me? Okay?
Yep. Important stuff. Really important stuff. And a lot of people don't think about it. All they think is, oh, I really like this person. We get along so well. We get along so well in so many different ways. And it's great and amazing. Well, all this stuff is coming.
Yep.
Whether you realize it or not, it's coming.
It's coming.
And if it isn't dealt with and if it isn't there, it's going to lead to a breakup.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
Yep. This growing up stuff and love stuff is not easy or simple.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. A lot to think about, but this is really important stuff, and this
Really
is why you
important.
have to do the work on yourself,
Yep.
and this is why you have to really respect your partner, allow them to figure things out, because forcing them, trying to manipulate them, trying to guilt them, trying to beg them, none of those things work. Just causes them, pushes them away further.
Manipulating somebody with guilt is a really dirty trick, because most of us human beings have an abundance of guilt, and it's easy to do to most people.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Of course, if you want to get our help personally, just go to my website, askcraig.net. Sign up for the coaching option that works best for you. I do email coaching and I do Skype. And of course, Margaret is available for Skype coaching.
If you feel that I can be helpful, please sign up.
Just click on Margaret on the top of the website to do that. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And we will talk with you soon. To get my help personally, go to askcraig.net and click on Schedule Coaching and choose the option that works best for you. I do email coaching or Skype. To schedule a coaching with Margaret, click on Margaret on the top of the page and order a Skype with her. For the Knowledge Creative Healing course, click on the link at the top of the page and click Get Started Now.